I stand at the center of a storm I helped create, a whirlwind of electric dreams, rockets, robots, and restless ambition. And as Tesla faces a sales slump that the world is dissecting with surgical precision, I find myself replaying every decision that brought us here, wondering how many of them were inevitable and how many were born from my own impatience with the boundaries of what people believed possible. Because from the very beginning, Tesla was never meant to be just a car company. It was supposed to be a catalyst, a forcing function to drag the future closer. Yet, success has a strange weight to it, a gravitational pull that demands constant miracles. And now critics are pointing at slipping numbers, accusing me of losing focus, saying I've drifted too far into the domain of humanoid robots and artificial intelligence, as if expanding the frontier is a betrayal rather than the next chapter. And yes, I hear the pressure. I hear shareholders whispering about discipline, analysts tallying the shortfalls, headlines declaring that my attention is fractured, but they don't see the larger architecture in my head where electric cars, self-driving systems, AI models, and embodied robotics are not separate projects, but interconnected pieces of a single long game. And still I can't deny the tension, the feeling that every misstep is amplified, that every delay in a factory or every dip in quarterly deliveries becomes a referendum on my entire vision. And I admit that part of me thrives on that pressure because challenge sharpens purpose. But another part of me, usually the part awake at 3 a.m. staring at production dashboards, wonders whether the world understands the scale of what we're trying to build, whether they see that innovation doesn't move in linear, quarterly increments. It surges and stalls like a rocket engine being tested, shaking violently before stabilizing into thrust. And so I tell myself now that this slump, this scrutiny, this moment of doubt is simply another ignition sequence, another trial by fire. And while people speculate that I've become distracted by AI and robotics, I know that these technologies are the critical next step for Tesla's evolution, that self-driving cannot reach its final form without breakthroughs in machine intelligence, that factories of the future will depend on adaptable robots working alongside humans, that sustainability demands an ecosystem rather than a single product. So, when the world says I'm under pressure, I accept it, because pressure has always been the forge in which my best work is hammered into shape. And when they say Tesla is struggling to correct course, I see only a temporary vector adjustment on the trajectory of something far larger. And despite the noise, the doubt, the headlines, I remain fixated on the mission that brought me here in the first place. To build a future that is not limited by the constraints of the present. A future where the slump of one quarter becomes a footnote in the story of how we pushed humanity forward, one improbable invention at a time. And as I push forward into this next phase, I can feel the world watching with that familiar mix of fascination and skepticism. The same look people had when I first spoke about building reusable rockets or accelerating a transition to electric vehicles long before anyone believed demand would ever justify the effort. And now with Tesla navigating turbulence, I'm reminded that every ambitious path has moments when the ground shakes, when the numbers dip, when the certainty evaporates, and it's in those moments that the true test arrives. The test of whether you still believe in the roadmap etched into your mind even when reality throws sand in the gears. And I think about the factories humming in Texas, Berlin, Shanghai, each one a living organism built from metal, software, and relentless iteration. Machines building machines. A dream I've chased for years because I have always understood that scale, true, civilization-shifting scale, only comes from manufacturing excellence. And yet right now even, the best factories can't always outrun global markets, cooling, or competition, sharpening, or supply chains twisting into unpredictable shapes. And so people say the slump is a sign of decline, a symbol that Tesla's momentum is slipping away, while others insist that my attention has wandered into robotics labs and AI research vaults where humanoid prototypes take unsteady but promising steps. And I know why it unnerves them, because the world likes its innovators neatly categorized, build cars here, launch rockets there, compute AI over there. But my mind refuses to operate in compartments. It jumps between timelines, between future states, between the threads that tie one technological frontier to another. And maybe that's why I've always chafed against the expectation that I should focus on only one direction. Because the future I see is integrated. A mesh of electric mobility, autonomous intelligence, robotic labor, and energy systems that support all of it. And yes, I realize how absurd that sounds to some. How maximalist, how reckless even, especially when the spotlight intensifies and people demand that I restore certainty and calm the markets. But certainty has never built anything worth building, and calm has never been the fuel for revolutions. So I accept that this chapter is messy, that these headlines paint me as stretched thin or distracted, and I even accept that some of the criticism contains truth, because growth forces trade-offs and boldness always leaves blind spots. Yet, despite the weight of the moment, I feel the same stubborn fire that pushed me through every near collapse, every production hell, every launch failure. That voice reminding me that slumps are temporary, but breakthroughs are permanent, and that the path forward isn't to shrink the vision, but to execute harder, refine faster, innovate deeper, until the results speak louder than the doubts. And so, part 2 of this story is not about retreat, it's about doubling down, reorganizing the chaos into momentum, steering Tesla through the turbulence while still pushing the boundaries of AI and robotics, because in the end I refuse to let a rough chapter define the entire narrative when the future we're building is still so much larger than any single setback. And as I move deeper into this crucible of expectation and doubt, I realize that every chapter of Tesla's journey has demanded a different version of me. And this moment, this noisy, uncertain, pressure-loaded moment, is no exception. Because now the challenge isn't just building cars or scaling factories or rewriting the economics of energy. It's convincing the world that the next leap, the one involving AI systems that learn at planetary scale and robots that will someday reshape the meaning of work, is not a distraction, but an evolution. A step that Tesla was always destined to take once the foundation was strong enough. And yet I can feel the tension between the mission I see and the patience the world has. The investors who want linear progress, the analysts who want predictable execution, the critics who want a narrative that fits neatly into categories that never applied to me. And as the sales slump becomes a talking point on every financial channel, I feel a familiar echo of earlier moments when people lined up to predict Tesla's downfall, when delays were seen as fatal flaws and every missed target was treated as the beginning of the end. But those moments weren't endings. They were pressure chambers that forced innovation to compress into something stronger. And now I can sense that same dynamic unfolding again, a tightening coil of expectations that pushes me to rethink not just the products, but the organization itself, the culture, the processes, even the pacing of ideas. Because if the slump is a signal, it's not a signal to retreat, but to recalibrate, to accelerate the integration of AI into manufacturing, to refine autonomy until it becomes undeniable, to push robotics from prototype to purpose. And while the voices around me insist I'm stretched too thin, I keep returning to the long arc of history, to the simple truth that the biggest leaps all would look like distraction before they look like inevitability. And maybe that's why I'm oddly calm beneath the pressure, because I've lived through enough valleys to understand that momentum is rarely constant, that breakthroughs usually emerge right after the world decides they're not coming. And so, part 3 of the story is the part where I accept the weight, the criticism, the frustration, and use it as propulsion, turning every doubt into fuel for the next phase, knowing that what we're building across cars, AI, robotics, energy, and everything still untold will ultimately redefine not just Tesla's trajectory, but the